I'll be talking about Redemption Road by ELMA Shaw. I'll be breaking this section on about the author, the background, and a detailed summary of chapter 1. I'll start with the author, ELMA Shaw. ELMA Shaw holds a degree in communication, media, film, and video from American University. She currently lives in Monrovia, Liberia, with her husband and their 2 sons. Redemption Road is her first novel. I will move over to background. ELMA Shaw brings out a period of Liberia's history and puts it onto a paper for the world to swallow and digest without judgment. Samuel Doe, the former president of Liberia's rule, was characterized by corruption and favoritism. He favored his ethnic group more than the other ethnic groups in Liberia, which led to a growing opposition in his regime from the Liberian public and the United States. The first Liberian Civil War began in December 1989 when Samuel Doe's opposers, led by Charles Taylor, invaded Liberia from the Ivory Coast to overthrow him. Samuel Doe was captured and executed. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button, like and share. Thank you so much and God bless you. The book Redemption Road by ELMA Shaw is divided into 3 parts, namely Time Heals Nothing, Part 1, Truth Lies the Way, Part 2, and Peace is a Reward, Part 3. Now a detailed summary of Chapter 1. The book starts with the memorial service of Catherine May Tyler Lewis, popularly known as Granny May. Hundreds of friends and relatives had come to celebrate her life and also mourn her death. Her granddaughter, Bendy Lewis, who is the heroine of the novel, was the last to see her grandmother, so her pains were magnified. Even though she had died 10 years earlier, the pain they felt concerning her death was still fresh. The remains of Catherine Lewis had never been found, so the family used an empty casket to bury her. They also added some of her beloved possessions. Ben and Eva Lewis, that is Bendu's parents, had left Liberia to the US not long after Charles Taylor became the president of Liberia, and all their properties being destroyed during the Civil War. Slyta Lewis, on the other hand, who is Bendu's elder sister, returns from the US few months before the memorial service to join her husband, Terence Clark, who has become part of the present elected government. Ben and Eva Lewis, Bendu's parents, had no plans to stay in Liberia after the death of their only son, Benji Lewis, who was brutally killed in 1980 during the coup d'etat. Bendu, feeling uneasy about the death of her grandmother, flashes back to her death. Now we'll move over to the flashback of how Granny May died. It all happened in Charlottetown when the whole population of the town and the surrounding villages ran for their lives as the sounds of machine guns were getting louder. Bendu, pushing her sick grandmother in a wheelbarrow, was also running with the crowd. People around her had advised her to leave the sick woman and run for her life, since the sick woman had already lived her life. Babies and little children were abandoned by their parents or guardians who were unable to carry them and run, or had lost them in a confused state. A couple of these abandoned children were trampled on by the adults who were running for their dear lives. Several elderly and sick people were also left behind, crying, praying, and calling out to the able-bodied men and women running past them to help them. Suddenly, as they were all running, a rocket-propelled grenade landed in the village they had just abandoned. As they heard the loud sound, they began to run as fast as their legs could carry them. In spite of that, Bendu didn't abandon her grandmother, whom she was pushing in the wheelbarrow. She promised her grandmother that she would not abandon her, but her grandmother told her to leave her and save herself, that the Lord God will take care of her. With those words, Granny May gave up the ghost. An old man came by Granny May's side and confirmed her death. Bendu collapsed beside her grandmother and wept bitterly. She didn't notice when the fighters came to stand in front of her. Bendu looked right at them and sucked her teeth loudly. One of the fighters tried to kill Bendu, but the commander stopped him. When that happened, Bendu wasn't afraid. She was tired of everything and wanted to die with her Granny May. The commander introduced himself as Commander Cobra. The commander asked her what she was doing in Charlottetown, and Bendu said she was visiting relatives with her grandmother in Somerville when the big bridge was destroyed, and as a result, they couldn't get back to Monrovia. Commander Cobra tells her to join the other captured people, and she picks up the wheelbarrow. He asks her where she will be carrying the dead body to when she still insists to carry the dead body of her grandmother. Samson, one of the fighters, raises his gun and breaks it down on Bendu's finger. Immediately, she lets go of the wheelbarrow. Someone pulls a comforting hand on her shoulder and she comes back to reality. Now, we just left flashback. This is reality now during Grandma May's memorial service. She comes back to reality, having her family and friends around her at the memorial service of her grandmother. Bendu was grateful for their presence, but she couldn't let go of the trauma of what she went through during the war. Please don't forget to click on the subscribe button for more content. I'll be summarizing in details the other chapters. See you later. Thank you.